The Garden Report is powered by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network.
Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to a practice edition of the Garden Report, possibly the last practice of the year for the Celtics, and some hope, seemingly, for Kristaps Porzingis, who's out there right behind us right now, stepping into some shots, going out deep. He just hit a long three. Porzingis looks like he's going to practice here today. There's not too much on his left leg. There's not a lot of restriction in his movement out here. And Joe Mazzulla said he's still fighting like hell to play in Game 4. Shams Charania earlier today reporting that there is some hope he could go in the next game. So amazingly enough, it looks like Porzingis could return in this series before it possibly ends here on Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was a little surprised to see him take the floor the way that he just did. He's not doing a whole lot, at least not that I've seen. But he stretched. I watched him kind of stretch behind the bleachers a little bit before he started. And Joe has not ruled him out whatsoever. And I think there was a lot of hope that he was able to play yesterday. And then Xavier Tillman mentioned post-game that it seemed like the workout that he had didn't go particularly well, and that's when he got a little bit of a heads up that he might be in the rotation. And so maybe if they run it back today, if he's actually doing better after one day, that could be reason to give him a shot.
So that's what it's going to come down to. How well does he move? Not moving a ton here, just some stationary shooting for the most part. So a lot of it's going to be how he can get up and down, jump, move laterally. Obviously, we've seen him walking in different situations. He looks fine walking. But I think it's just those basketball movements, the pain that could pop up during these games. And, of course, limitations jumping, probably the worst thing you could have on the basketball court. So even though he's out here and shooting and maybe a little bit of subterfuge going on here, still that gamesmanship whole thing that we see in these series. I still would be surprised if we see him in this next game, but there's certainly more hope than there was a day or two ago.
Well, what you don't want to do is jeopardize his long-term health with a 3-0 series lead and a roster that's perfectly capable of pulling this off without him. And so, you play him if he's able to, absolutely, but you're not going to put him at a risk of serious injury. If he's unstable, if he's not really able to be at, enough of a percent to be effective out there, especially when you just saw Xavier Tillman step in beautifully the way that he did last night. Like, you're better off just running it back with a healthy Tillman, especially if you're thinking this might be the end of the road here. You're not saving Al's legs anymore, right? Stuff like that.
Well, we will have an injury report later this afternoon. I would assume Porzingis will be questionable, but we'll have more coverage of that. And potentially a shoot-around here tomorrow, so maybe we'll see Porzingis again in the morning here if the Celtics do have open shoot-around. So stay tuned for more coverage of that. We'll talk about the Mavericks in our next video. For Noah Dalzell from Celtics Blog, I'm Bobby Manning. This has been a practice edition of the Garden Report. Hey, Bobby Manning here. If you made it this far, you probably enjoyed this video, so subscribe, turn on notifications, and check out our social media platforms at Celtics CLNS.